So after 5 years, multiple releases from Ken Carson and Destroy Lonely, after Carti gave Nav a feature, we finally received the highly awaited Opium collab song being Off the Meter last night on Ken Carson's newest project, More Chaos. So let's talk about it, right? So as many of you guys do know, last night Ken Carson released his latest project being More Chaos, and nobody was expecting Playboi Carti to be landing on this project. I don't think there was a single soul out there that was like, yo, we're getting the first ever Carti Ken feature going down tonight, let alone adding Lone onto the project, right? But everybody's going through their first listen, all right? Project drops, all right, cool, this is the track list right here. No Off the Meter, 21 tracks, no features, it's looking good. And then maybe like 5 minutes after the first listen ends, I'm hearing the chat spam, yo, Off the Meter, Off the Meter, Off the Meter, check Ken Carson's YouTube. And I'm like, yo, y'all are trolling me, right? There's no way Ken dropped the entirety of his project with no features. And I'm like, yo, that's probably like an accidental upload. I don't really want to watch it on stream, because last time an accidental like Carti feature got uploaded, being on Pink Tape with a Patience song, right? It was supposed to be the Don Toliver Uzi song, but it was like this Uzi Carti random song that popped up. I got striked, so I'm like, yo, let's take this with caution. I don't know if I want to listen to it yet, especially if you're in the stream yesterday. You know we had some technical difficulties, right? But then Ken went to Twitter and he tweeted the link for Off the Meter on YouTube. Honestly, they timed this perfectly, right? And of course the project dropped at 9 PST, 12 Eastern, so about 56 minutes into the first listen, we get hit with this Ken Carson tweet. And I'm like, there's no way in hell this is real. Did we really just get the first Ken, Lone, Carti, Opium release collab song ever? And that was the case, right? I'm listening to the song and I'm noticing a couple things, right? And then obviously they did upload it later onto streaming platforms. Let me see, it's this one. There's like 2 More Chaos albums, I believe this one, right? Yeah, so it's on streaming platforms, it's legit, it's a real thing, right? And a lot of people just couldn't believe it. I personally didn't believe it. Like a couple weeks ago, I was like, yo, maybe this might be the time the first Carti Ken collab is that gonna go down. On More Chaos, he just dropped music. He gave Nav a feature, right? So if he gave Nav a feature and he didn't give Ken a feature, what the hell is going on in the camp, right? So then when I see Off the Meter, I'm like, yo, no way this is real. So I'm listening to the song and I'm just in complete shock, because I feel like we picked up a couple of things, especially with all 3 different verses, right? Because this definitely felt like an old song 1000%. I said it on my Instagram right here. I kind of gave my thoughts. I did like a little right post and I said it right here. How are we feeling about the first ever Opium collab song, right? Because that's obviously the standout song on the project, right? I said, in my opinion, overall the song's pretty solid, it's dope, but I think we all know they got way better songs in the vault, right? When I first heard this, I thought this was like a throwaway. This might have been an accidental upload. There's no way out of like, bro, you know Carti, Ken, Lone, they're sitting on thousands of songs together, right? There's no way they only have this one song or they have like 5 songs to select from, right? They've been in the Opium label for like 4 to 5 years. They in the studio, they cooking, you know they have thousands of songs to choose from, right? So I'm like, out of all the songs they got, why did we get, this felt like a 2022 type of song, right? Because definitely that Ken verse, it felt like more so like a Lost Files type of Ken type of era. It gave me like pre-X type of era in my opinion, like early 2022. That's what I got from Carti as well, because that's definitely the all red deep voice, right? Because you can definitely hear that within Carti's project as well. Like some songs have like the all red deep voice and then that like newer like singles type of deep voice. There's 2 different deep voices on music, right? And you could tell what's the earlier version versus the latest, right? So I was like, that's definitely like an all red 2022 type of Carti voice. And then that Ken, it sounded like old Ken, right? That took me back, right? And then obviously Lone, that is no stylist Lone, and Lone was the standout verse in my opinion. Lone went stupid. Lone slid on this front to back. He went crazy. Feel like Ken, it was cool, none crazy in my opinion. You know, it was like the old Ken. He had a pretty cool hook. And then Carti went on the track, which I wasn't really too impressed by Carti's verse. I feel like he didn't really add anything too crazy or anything like too mind-blowing. Like maybe my expectations are way too high for this trio, right? But you gotta think, this is Ken, Lone, and Carti, right? These are 3 GOATs. They're all sitting on classic projects and we know what they could do, right? So for the first Opium, you know, collab song to ever be released to the public, I thought like before the release, if this were ever to happen, me personally, I never really thought it would have went down. But I was like, yo, if this does go down, they gotta release just an undeniable banger, right? And we all kind of expected that because we all know they're super fire. So I heard this song and I was like, It's cool. I rate it like I think I said a solid 7. Yeah, I said a solid 7 out of 10. Seemed like an old 2022 era song. Lone definitely carried 1000%, but it's super dope to see the first Opium collab ever go down, right? Nobody would have ever expected this, kind of just like random out the blue. And honestly, I think the way they did release the song was the best play, because if they were gonna hype this, you know, Opium first ever collab song, like couple weeks, like Ken's like, yo, I got Carti on my album, boom boom boom, maybe it might have took the spotlight from some other songs, but honestly I think this was the best play, just kind of like a surprise release, like, oh, y'all thought I was done? Oh yeah, I got another gift for y'all with Carti and Lone, first ever going down. The internet just exploded, right? But I feel like they could have delivered a way harder song. The beat was pretty fire, but I feel like it was just cool. Overall, I'd probably say like a cool 7. I was expecting like a mind-blowing, just everybody sliding, like everybody in the group project getting an A+, but it's a cool song nonetheless. And with this concept actually coming about, right, the first ever Opium collab song, could we see more in the future? I definitely think so, in my opinion. I definitely do think we could see Carti on more and more projects throughout the year. And why not give it to your Opium artist, right? Carti, you know, has a #1 album. His label's lit. It's only gonna help Ken. Ken's probably might even sell him 100K, I'm not gonna lie. I was gassing, yo, if he has a Carti feature on More Chaos, 100K without a doubt. He's got 3 different bundles. His streaming is crazy. Then you add the first ever Opium collab song on streaming platforms the same day it released, like 56 minutes later. Yeah, I think 100K is honestly a possibility from Ken. I am going to be doing my full in-depth review. I'm going to be dropping it tomorrow because I still want to listen to this project, because it's only like 1:29 on a Friday, right? I've only listened to it last night. So I definitely want to listen to the album front to back a couple of more times, 1000%. Then I'll be giving my full thoughts and an in-depth review, definitely dropping on Saturday morning. But honestly, also with Ken and Lone teasing that Opium collab tape, Lone put out a couple of tweets the other day talking about maybe him and Ken dropping, you know, the Opium collab tape. As you can see, where is it? Right here. He said maybe me and Ken first, right? And then in that interview, he was talking about, yo, me and Ken are just gonna be focusing on the Opium Twins collab tape within 2025. Could we see another Carti feature land on that tape if that tape does actually become a reality, which is something that Lone has been talking pretty heavy as of recent, right? The Ken Lone Opium Twins tape hopefully drops within 2025. So do we think Carti could make an appearance on that? I definitely do think so. Lone's got a mixtape dropping, I believe, in June. So could we see Carti on Lone's mixtape in June? I definitely do think so. If he's on More Chaos, he's got to be on Lone's mixtape. And I would love to see Lone, Carti. And Lone said about his mixtape, it's all 2025 new music, right? So if that were to become true, it's going to be a 2025 Ken, Lone, Carti song, or maybe Lone and Carti. Who knows if it's going to become a reality, but it was pretty dope to see the first ever Opium collab, you know, song just hit like a bomb out of nowhere. Off the meter, YouTube, first ever Carti, Ken, Lone went down last night. Pretty insane, but like I said, if you guys like this video, like, comment, share, and subscribe. It's MONEYMAY or Zay, and I'm out. Thank you guys.
Skinny, give me a vibe.
Okay, it's the hardest. I swear to God.
Get on my face, whoa. Get on my face, whoa. Get on my